matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
Okay, hi guys, welcome to David's Philosophy of Life, Part 1. I'm gonna talk about consciousness and I'm gonna keep my shades on while talking about consciousness. Let me start with this. First of all, everyone has a right to be, no matter how stupid, how intelligent, or disabled, not disabled, doesn't really matter, because actually, if the Dalai Lama is correct and he says the meaning of life is to be happy, disabled people are just capable, usually just as capable of being in a state of happy mind, happiness, smiling to yourself, maybe even enlightenment, than non-disabled people, which is interesting. Sometimes the perfectly healthy people are the ones that are not so healthy inside, yeah? Okay, here we go. So we all have the right to be without fulfilling any purpose. What's the purpose of a small hound dog other than making you laugh and smile? There is no other purpose. Okay, some people use it for hunting and chasing. I think it's called a ducks out of the duck's hole, or foxes out of foxholes, whatever. So he could actually serve that purpose, but let's be honest. I would say maybe 1 out of 100 dachshunds are used for hunting, the others are just for the fun and entertainment. So we have the right to be and we have the right to be happy. That's the next point. You actually have a right to live a happy life, which sounds probably strange to many because, yeah, I guess in the American hemisphere this sounds like the pursuit of happiness, but they associate the pursuit of happiness usually with making more money and more money and more money, and it's never enough, which is probably not the way to gain a healthy state of, a sustainable state of happiness. And the Buddhist monks, they actually say for them happiness means sustainable satisfaction, like deep inner satisfaction that is kind of sustainable no matter how much money you have or how less money. Or okay, if you're getting hungry, then that's a problem, okay, of course, and then a little money would help you a lot, you know. But okay, then we have the problem that it was always about survival on this planet. It was always about survival. So mankind kind of managed, after the discovery of oil, to, at least the Western hemispheres, like with all the technology and the oil coming together, making them basically unemployed, because one farmer does the job of, I don't know, 1,000 farmers 100 years ago, which is efficient, but efficiency is not everything. I learned that from Bernard Lietaer, which is an ex-banker of Belgium, ex-central banker of Belgium, and he actually discovered that efficiency would mean replacing all these plants you see behind me with one plant that you can harvest with a machine or plant with a machine or whatever, that would be efficient. But then nature wouldn't have any space to thrive and biodiversity would go down and probably the whole system would destabilize. Which is it doing? I was told it's unstabilizing climate change and whatever. But so it's about survival, yeah. Or as Brecht said, first comes the food, then comes the reason, or something like that. So then we have the problem of psychology of the masses. Because actually the operating system of society, capitalism has become the operating system of society. Even in a social capitalistic country like Germany, it's basically money is the operating system of society, and this has all kinds of, mostly, in my opinion, not so good side effects, because it only actually works if there's real competition on the market, and this is, I don't know in how many percent of the cases, not the case right now. A real competition would mean two companies doing the same thing, everything gets cheaper, everyone can afford a car, a home, and so on. And actually in the 1970s people thought, if efficiency continues like that and we're gonna have to work 1 day per week and we're gonna have a car and the same luxuries, or we can keep our way of life, with working only 1 day per week, which did not happen. It's the opposite. You're gonna have 2 jobs, 3 jobs, low paid, and so on and so on. So obviously this kind of promise was broken. I don't know, maybe by the banks, maybe someone else. Probably I got shot for saying this, like Kennedy, but whatever. So the Anglo-Saxon capitalism is the operating system. It actually sneaked in, and now all the democracies, you can say, are kind of bought up by capitalism, which is now the operating system of most Western societies. And there's no way, you cannot fight it. It's no sense fighting it. You have to come up with a new system that works better, more sustainable, and so on, to replace the old system. I'm not sure if Buckminster Fuller is responsible for this quote, but it's definitely the only way to go. You cannot fight it. You have to come up with a new system that replaces the old one. Then you have overcome it. So, for all you left-wing guys, some professor actually said, I was a communist for most of my life, but it didn't make me happy. So that's the problem. You have to come up with new operating systems for society that work, that probably have some way of efficiency and so on, but also biodiversity, democracy, real democracy. And Bernard Lietaer says we need multiple currencies, maybe serving a special purpose. And if one currency fails, the other will maybe can take over, So like biodiversity, not replacing everything with one plant, but letting biodiversity be, having multiple systems and so on. And if one fails, not so bad. If one species dies out, okay, not so bad. Maybe the other can kind of compensate. So that fact was probably ignored, and efficiency would basically make the euro is efficiency. But look at Italy, Spain, and Greece. They are pretty angry because basically Germany kind of promised, you're gonna be so well off and so on, or the euro promised. I don't know who promised, maybe Draghi, or I don't know. You're gonna have so much good jobs and so on, and the opposite actually happened. So this is always, they promise you with efficiency, also global trade and so on, to have a better life, but this is actually a half-truth, It's half-truth. It's true for those who profit, but who of you guys have a multinational company? I guess not many. So you're not gonna profit, you're gonna suffer from it. So there we have the psychology of the masses coming in, meeting the effects that money has on the psychology of people, and whoever says there is no effect is a liar, because it's proven, it's scientifically proven by a brain scientist called Manfred Spitzer from Ulm, who actually made tests. It works like this: someone in the room is doing a test, and the test is not solvable, but he is actually the person that is in the center of the test. And then someone comes in and he falls over and loses pencils, I don't know. And if you have a bill of money as a poster in the room, the person sitting at the table doing the unsolvable test is less likely to help the people, the guy that actually needs some help. So the effect of money on psychology is like, oh, you have money, you're independent, you are, I don't know, you don't need help, because you can help yourself by buying help, basically. So subconsciously we associate money with independence from each other, which is of course also, it's like with the Matrix, it's not real. Because you are dependent on the farmer, you are dependent on the sun shining, making all the weeds, making all the food for you, basically producing the energy. Yeah? So we guys are actually lucky that the sun doesn't send us bills. So this psychology of money on people and societies is pretty devastating. You can also ask Bernard Lietaer, he says the same. So what also is a really, really bad side effect of this is long-term planning, thinking, acting, the value of responsibility, trust and friendship. You cannot trade. Or can you buy trust, friendship, responsibility? Can you buy this? And what's its value? You can maybe sell your grandma as a cooking, baking slave on eBay. How much would you will probably make the market decide how much cookie baking grandma is worth money, but from the ethical point of view, you should not do that, yeah? Because, yeah, it's just, I hope I don't have to explain why you shouldn't sell your grandma on eBay. Okay. So, mankind is way less reasonable as you were taught. So insanity is increasing, and you can even invest in this. Of course, you can invest in psycho drugs. You can invest in psychological clinics, repairing the symptoms of a deeper cause. That's a systematic cause. You can sell CCTV cameras, surveillance cameras. You can sell weapons to prevent mass shootings, like in Munich just recently. From, I don't know, whatever. So you can invest in actually in very evil things and make a lot of money of that. So if that's the pursuit of happiness, go ahead, destroy yourself and everyone around it. Yeah, I saw actually a documentary on how economy worked in the middle, not even further. In the Stone Age, economy was like, oh, I was able to hunt this deer, but it's too much meat, so I'm gonna share it anyway, because I cannot conserve the meat. So what's the point? I could like have one bite or like one chunk of meat, and the rest goes to waste. What's the point? So I was hunting, and I was successful. Okay, I share it with you guys. Yeah, and next time you're successful, you're sharing with me, and so on. So we were hunting for the group, basically, and now everyone is hunting for himself. Everyone needs a television because we cannot watch the same thing at the same time. We cannot share. Yeah, we basically forgot how to share. Why families are important. So, what's the value of a functional family? You know, if you could trade how I don't know, if you could trade trust, friendship, and so on at a stock exchange, what would be its value? Those are the things you cannot measure. Therefore, they're not in any balance sheet. They matter a lot for society to work, but they're not in any balance sheet. So they cannot be measured by money, basically. Which doesn't mean they don't exist. But for the current operating system of society, which is capitalism, which is whoever has more money is right, those soft, invisible things are not existing because they don't have a price tag, and you can't give him a price tag. I mean, you can bribe someone to be your friend, but then that's fake, So it's not your real friend because he likes you, because of your properties, or because he has learned how to. In German, we call this bedingungslose Liebe, like unconditional love. Here we go. Unconditional love. That's how parents are supposed to love their children, and children are automatically loving their parents unconditionally. Of course, they're a little bit dependent on them. They probably would die if they, I don't know, shoot their parents or what. I don't recommend this. It's basically worsening your chance of survival, So, but still, children never can 100% hate their parents. Maybe 99%, but not 100%. So, okay. So mankind is way less reasonable as we were taught. And we don't have any experience with destroying the atmosphere of planet. You probably may have heard that they found water on Mars, and Mars used to have liquid water. Where is it gone? It's gone. It probably evaporated into space because something happened to the atmosphere of Mars. Maybe the Martians were farting too much and there was all this methane in the atmosphere and everything heated up, and so the water evaporated and the Martians died out. Okay, I have no idea if there were any Martians, but definitely the atmosphere of Mars changed. It changed probably by itself. So climate change definitely exists. It's just the question of how much influence has mankind on climate change, because the climate will gonna change, and if we are adding to it, and then it probably gonna change faster, which gives us less time to think what to do, how to deal with it, how to adapt, and so on. So it kind of lessens the probability of mankind to survive. And this is the problem with long-term planning, thinking, acting, which the brain of the normal human being wasn't trained for. We were trained for flight or fight decisions, but not for long-term thinking, not for long-term planning. And capitalism actually trying to mimic nature, saying, well, mankind never had to plan ahead this far, maybe 6 months, because winter you cannot. Since agriculture, you have to plan a little bit, Before that, we were just hunting whatever's there in winter and summer. And then agriculture was invented, and now we are kind of storing stuff in the summer for having something to eat in the winter. And you can actually become vegetarian, which is great, which probably didn't really work in those times at winter, because all that you could eat then was probably animals. So, sorry for that. Okay. So if capitalism kind of says, well, that's how nature is, and therefore capitalism is how it is, I don't know, the bigger eat the smaller ones, and then you only will have one company on the planet producing cars, being very corrupt, charging you more money than necessary to build a car, and prices gonna go up. This is when the markets don't work because there's no competition in it anymore. So, and if capitalism really is mimicking nature, then we also have effects like cancer, because cancer is also nature, you know. Can't really 100% avoid it. Live a happy life and you're gonna be more cancer free and more likely to get cancer, because living an unhappy life means your immune system works less good, which makes you more prone of to get actually a cell that is multiplying very, very fast and getting totally out of control, taking up all your belly and making you die. So this is really one of the worst kinds to die, I guess. And animals don't kill for power or money. They don't really have any money, of course, and power, well, maybe they fight over territory, but then I don't know if, yeah. So this is not really, you know, do we want to be called a civilization, or do we just be stupid, you know? So that's actually the question, and it has a lot to do with consciousness, because consciousness means to actually be aware, get a clearer picture of reality, and therefore probably also coming to conclusions that are probably more intelligent. Because the opposite of being conscious is unconsciousness, which many people are. I would call this a zombie or Wachkoma, which means they are alive but they are not conscious that what they are doing, or yeah. So then humans who are unconscious are more like robots or machine. And let me tell you one thing. By breathing meditation, you can broaden your consciousness, but intelligence and consciousness are also a two-bladed sword, which means good but also bad, because you're gonna get aware of all the madness that's going on, and it's not gonna be very positive for your spirituality, for your mental health. Basically, that could be even bad. But on the other side, what's worse, you know? Being in a bad condition, not knowing why, or being in a bad condition, knowing why, being able to change it, you know, because you're conscious of what's going on or what's going wrong, and you're conscious of the underlying problems, and then you can work on ways to get around it or to solve it, you know. So in my opinion, being conscious is definitely better. But of course, some of us are probably too intelligent, too conscious. For them, I recommend getting drunk every once in a while, or even better, because you can get addicted to alcohol, maybe cannabis, yeah, in what form ever, but also not chronicle, like the psychedelic, like the you know, mental drugs, psychopharmaca. You should only take this stuff in total emergency situations, you know. I've never taken that stuff, and I'm never going to take anything artificial, and therefore, this is, for me, it's really dangerous stuff, because you can actually get addicted to it. So, and it really changes. I've heard it really changes your brain. So I think it's better to change your brain with meditation. And meditation, there's like breathing meditation. There's a guide online from Fred von Allmen. It's called Vipassana, and it's awareness meditation. So it increases your awareness, yeah, which should usually be a good thing, unless you don't want to know why you died out. Okay, so much for today. Thanks for listening, guys, and smile at your inner self. Enlightenment, I was told, there's some guy online saying that, is smiling at your inner self. And children smile 400 times a day, and if they grow up, they only smile 17 times a day. And then if they are adult, maybe don't smile at all, one day long. It's just terrible. Ciao.